What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today when I talk to you about NIO, I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is down 2.2%, 418 the low, 444 the high. So you are seeing a little bit more of a back and forth first thing. So it did move higher, and I felt like that is because of registration numbers, but unfortunately there's a lot of fear that's starting to drag NIO and just the broader market down. So when it comes to data points, nothing from China. So we have manufacturing data this evening, so that'll impact NIO and just Chinese stocks tomorrow. But we did have JOLT numbers, came in at 7.1 versus a forecast of 7.4. So this is why you're having algorithmic trading really pushing down the broader market because of this. And also one thing that I'll talk on in a second, but even the JOLT numbers, if it was to still have come in higher than the forecast, I feel like this data point could be spun as a negative narrative, which is basically what's happening. You also have at the same time, a lot of companies, I think it was UBS and also HSBC, did recently lower their S&P target. So the market's somewhat on edge, and over the last couple of data points, clearly it's caused a lot of volatility. And that being said, I think one thing that was really propping up the market recently was optimism associated to tariff deals. And so ideally between obviously China and the States. But it seems as though, based on Besant's kind of speech this morning, that there isn't really all that many deals coming. The only one might be just India, and they seem to be hell-bent on really doing a deal with the States for whatever reason. They're probably trying to get away from Chinese kind of overshadow for the most part, but nonetheless though, the market really cares about China and the States, and unfortunately didn't really get that many updates, positive updates for that. Rather, we got some weird uncertainty. So I retweeted this, but I don't know if anyone here can kind of explain this to me either, but Trump creating strategic uncertainty in negotiations. I have no idea, and I don't think the market even understands what the hell strategic uncertainty means. Is that some negotiation tactic? Is that just playing dumb? I have no idea what the hell that means, but I feel like the market still, regardless, didn't get what they were really wanting out of the speech this morning. So I think that's causing a lot of just downward pressure. And of course, NIO, which is very influenced by geopolitical issues, is poised to go down despite good registration numbers. So getting right to it, NIO 6,500, so that is week ending, I believe the 27th, April 27th. So 6,500 is a very nice increase from the 5,400. And so the NIO executives, when pretty much I think the week ending the 14th week, you had NIO executives saying that pretty much you're going to have explosive growth over the next little bit. And that's ultimately what Citi did change their rating because of that, and kind of a reduction in R&D and so forth. So it is good in like a very nice increase, a nice improvement, and it is forecasted to continue as well. So we'll have to wait and see what the market sees by that. But even when it comes to ONVO though, so ONVO 770 last week, 1,470 this week. So very nice increase as far as that goes. So let me know your general thoughts on that. Clearly this did really move NIO a little bit higher, but it's not what the market wants, as you can clearly see based on this. It's not what the market is caring about right now. So let me know your general thoughts on that. Aside from that, no news, no SEC filings, nothing like that. So it's kind of just piggybacking off of the broader market. You're having shorts increase. So right now they're increasing 4.09 million shares, 13.39% of the free floats being shorted, works out to be 212.89 million shares. I think shorts are taking advantage of the kind of blood in the market, and they're trying to gently push NIO down below the 50-day moving average. And I think everyone knows at this stage in the game that the 50-day moving average for NIO is a very big deal, and for just generally a lot of growth stocks. So shorts have been returning quite a lot over the last several weeks, so I think they freed up a lot of room for maybe moments like this. So it's rather unfortunate, but I'll go over the technicals in a second. Right now, 1.13 million in calls, 1.15 in puts. 49% of all the options being done though today are neutral in nature. So people just doing premiums and collecting premiums for that. right now, based on the bulls, you are seeing a consensus, despite the pullback today, for it to still be to kind of between that $4.50 and $5 range. So it's good to see that level of optimism. Bears, though, they are kind of starting to hedge for more downside. So it is anticipated to be sub $4 again, and then next week for it to be sub $3. So that clearly, whoever's doing that, it's not much in volume, but whoever is doing that is clearly betting that there's going to be a escalation coming from tariffs. So let me know your viewpoint on that. With it though, right now at 422, trading between this pivot and this S1. So 429 is going to be the next strong target / resistance, and then 356 is going to be that next strong support. And what was very weird about just NIO in general was it did, I think it was the third or fourth most heavily traded kind of stock this morning in the pre-market. So it was getting a lot of attention, just unfortunately Basent and the other data points caused NIO to really lose its momentum, because it was doing fairly well. It was above this pivot point, but just watch for that 429 at least in the foreseeable future. Aside from that though, no new analyst ratings. So we had that one that came out yesterday, $8.10 rating by Citi, if it'll load. So yeah, that was pretty optimistic. $4.86 is that price target consensus over the last 3 months. Does represent a 15.3% upside. No changes to any of the key metrics like earnings per share or revenue, because there's something that I feel like a lot of people don't understand is an analyst can rechange and re-amend their key metrics, so their estimates on earnings per share, revenue, and whatever else, without changing their actual true rating. So I think a lot of people just focus on this type of stuff right here versus what is actually being said behind the scenes. But aside from all of that, no real news, just a lot of technicals, just bringing up about that recent rating. And then that's basically it. On the actual chart, key level to really watch for, which I think is Shorts' bigger plan, is that $4.19 50-day moving average. So it did bounce off of that general area. So just watch for that. That's, like I said, Shorts' bigger plan. 100-day moving average is 429. So that alongside that fib level, that's going to be a key resistance and a pivot for NIO as well. And then, so yeah, right now we just have to wait and see if it's able to close above that 50-day moving average, or if shorts are going to succeed. And this is something that they do time again. Every single time that NIO, either day one or maybe one following day, after it does break above that 50-day moving average, they hit it hard and really try to bring it down. So it happened in beginning of December, end of December, beginning of January. So all of this right here was shorts playing around with it, and looks as though they're trying their very best to just guide NIO down below that 50-day moving average today. So just watch for that very closely. Let me know your kind of general thoughts though on NIO. What's your viewpoint on clearly just NIO being so dependent on some sort of tariff deal that it's, I don't know, it's kind of frustrating, like I said, and I know I get these comments every single day on my comments, and even though I've explained it, why does obviously NIO get affected by tariffs when NIO doesn't even ship to the States? Ultimately and indirectly, it affects consumers. That's kind of a very short answer. And tariff obviously will affect both American and Chinese consumers. So it's just lack of buying power. It's hurting consumers. And at the end of the day, nobody, if you're struggling and now things cost more, you're not going to go and buy a vehicle exactly. So maybe I explained it a little bit more than a short one, but that's kind of the moral of the story. But nonetheless, what's your viewpoint on these registration numbers? I think very nice improvement. They need to keep up this good momentum. And then, yeah, and it's kind of funny though, if they didn't actually state all of their March high targets, I feel like NIO stock would have done a little bit better, because NIO gets punished. Like, their executives just talk too much. They say all these very high targets, and then NIO doesn't live up to it, and then the stock price goes down. And it's kind of a weird, crappy scenario. So I think NIO just needs to learn what the market values and what it doesn't. So yeah, let me know your viewpoint on all that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.